Hello everyone, my name is Siu and you're watching See You in the Kitchen. Get it? In this vlog, I will cook a lot of food because I love cooking, and for our inaugural vlog, I will welcome a friend of mine, Zhang, to the kitchen.
Hello, my name is Zhang and today I will help Siu make the
Crab noodle soup. It's called bún riêu cua in Vietnamese. It's a dish that we both grew up with in Hanoi and I miss it so much. We live in the US now and it's really hard to find great Vietnamese food. So we'll try to cook it today. On this cold day and this soupy kind of dish will really warm us up, right?
I really want to eat now.
These are the ingredients that you will need. The most important thing is crab.
We don't have real crab in the US, so we have to buy crab paste.
Well, we do have real crabs in the US, but it's not like the right crab. Vietnamese crabs are small crabs and we find them in the rice paddy fields. We don't have that here, so we have to make do. We need ground pork, shrimp. These three ingredients will be mixed together to make the crab bowl.
We also need the pork bones to make the soup.
We prefer to boil the boil the bone to make the broth so that it's organically sweet without having to add any sugar.
We also add shrimp paste.
It might smell a little pungent, but it adds a very good touch to the soup. Don't forget a wide array of vegetables and tofu. So first off, we will need to boil the pork bone to get rid of all the impurities. So we have a boiling pot of water here because we've been preparing for this vlog for like a few hours. And you see all the impurities, float to the top, you get rid of them, and then you strain them in a sink. And you run them through cold water. So the pork bone is done.
Next part, we fry the tofu.
This is like my favorite part. I miss this dish so much every single summer. When I come back home to Vietnam, my parents will welcome me with like a feast of crab noodle soup, and then I will request them to make it like 3 or 4 times during my 2-week visit. So silken tofu is the tofu that we're more familiar with in Vietnam. We grew up with silken tofu. We often like fry them and put them in the soup, or stuff ground pork in them and fry them again. We basically just fry them. Me and Zhang have added like our own personal touch to this by having both silken tofu and firm tofu, so that the texture is a little more diverse. This is fun for me because it's like racing against the oil, like trying to see if I can fit all the tofu in. Ooh, it's so golden brown. Fun fact, in Vietnamese, we call golden brown màu cánh rán, which means the color of the cockroach's wing. Ta-da! So golden brown, so crispy. This is like counting sheep when you try to sleep. We're gonna leave the tofu here for a second. We'll come back to the table where we will chop vegetables. So now I will peel the onions, chop it in half, and we're gonna put the onion in the Instant Pot with a chopped daikon as well. A very useful tool is the Instant Pot. Normally if you boil the bone in the broth, it might take like a few hours, but with the Instant Pot, it might shorten it down to like 45 minutes. Next, I'm gonna chop the shallots. It's like the second most popular kind of onion in Vietnamese cooking. Ah! Sorry. Chopping the shallots right now, it's like very therapeutic.
So next part, we will put the pork bones to the Instant Pot.
I hope they fit. It's a lot. So after we put a halved onion, the pork bones, daikon, and the ginger into the Instant Pot, we fill it up with water, and then we'll season it with salt. We have all of the things that we need for now for the broth. So we're gonna turn on the Instant Pot in the soup broth for 30. I love that sound. So next thing is I want to slice the tomatoes. I'm peeling off the brand name of the tomato because I don't want to make it look like I'm doing an ad because no one's giving me money. It's not an ad. Patricia, fresh tomato. It's not an ad. We're gonna slice the tomato into 8 pieces each. And then use the oil in this crab paste bottle to saute the tomatoes with garlic and shallot. Garlic and shallot first. Oh, I love a good sizzle. Now that it's all immersed in the oil, I'm gonna put the tomato in. All the slice. So now we're gonna saute the tomato until they're a little bit softer. We're gonna reduce the heat to medium-low, and we're gonna keep the tomato in the saute pan. And we're gonna come back to the table to start with the meat. Ta-da! We're back at the table. While we wait for the tomatoes to saute, we will mix the crab paste with the ground pork. Put in a bit of seasoning. I'll crack an egg in as well. And some fish sauce. We put fish sauce in basically every Vietnamese dish. Gonna mix. When my grandma made this for me in Vietnam, she used the crab egg from like the small little crab from the paddy fields. They are solid enough that we don't have to mix them with ground pork or shrimp or other things. But in the US, we don't really have them, so this is like the way to make do with what we have over here. But it's gonna be good. It's gonna come out as like a pretty chewy, solid texture crab meatball.
I think now we can put the shrimp.
Yep. Let's put the shrimp in. After mixing, we're gonna divide it into 3 different portions and we're gonna puree them in the food processor. Prepare for the sound of the food processor. Wait, what's happening? Oh, I haven't even... Okay. I'm stupid. I didn't even lock it in. Now, prepare for the real sound of the food processor. We're gonna put the pureed meat mixture into a different bowl. Now we have our meat mixture all pureed, all good to go. Me and Zhang will now go check on the tomatoes. Smells so nice. Do you hear the sizzle? It smells so good. Well, this is the perfect level of softness that we need, so we're gonna turn off the stove. This dish is called crab noodle soup, and we are kind of finished with the crab part of it and the soup part of it. So now we're gonna go to the noodle part. So this is vermicelli noodle, or bún in Vietnamese. It's like a thin kind of rice noodle. So we're gonna boil it in boiling water for about 15 minutes. And then I'm gonna put just a little bit of oil so they're not like attached to each other, because attachment is not always good. While we wait for the vermicelli noodle to cook, we're gonna go release the vent from the Instant Pot. It's like New Year's. It's literally like New Year's. It's actually getting so dark. That's why you see the difference in the lighting, because we spent like all afternoon cooking. So I'm gonna open the broth. On saute mode, we're gonna add in the sauteed tomato, tofu. We're gonna add the white parts of the onion into the broth as well. Next, we are going to dilute the shrimp paste in water. I actually grew up like not liking it at all because it's so pungent. But you know, when you go abroad, when you stay far away from home, you start to appreciate the smaller things. And I started cooking with shrimp paste, and honestly, it is the magic ingredient in everything. So now that the broth is in saute mode, we are going to put the crab, shrimp, and ground pork mixture into the Instant Pot. The point of not rolling it into a bowl is that these pieces will be floating like cloud on top of the broth. We're gonna mix it so the crab bowl is gonna be cooked. We'll add in some fish sauce. And after probably like 2.5 hours, we're down to our last step, which is putting everything together in a bowl and getting ready to eat. We're gonna put the noodles at the very bottom of the bowl. Garnish the bowl with our bean sprouts and our banana flowers. Green onions as well. And now as the broth is boiling, and it smells so good over here, we're gonna pour the broth in to our noodle bowl. Make sure to give a generous amount of the crab, the tomatoes, and the tofu. So we have invited all our friends in their house basically to go eat this dish with us. This is Son. He's been behind the camera all this afternoon. I didn't pay them to say all these things. So after me and Zhang has finished making the noodle soup and all of our friends are enjoying their meal, I am also gonna go eat. And until next time, see you later.